Hi, my name is Louis Castonguay. I have been touched, honored, and also anxious by Betty's invitations to pay homage to Hector. It has helped me to remind myself that none of this would have surprised him. Hector knew how attached I was to him, and thus how touched I would be by these invitations. He knew how I admired him and how much I loved and still loved the world he lived in, and thus how honored I would feel by the invitations. And because Hector knew me well, he was aware that I was constantly worried and that a meaningful, very meaningful event would make me anxious, very anxious. I'm also convinced that he would not only forgive me, but approve my decisions to use words that I previously wrote on his behalf. You see, Hector and I shared a lot of love for music, paintings, food, wine, and we both love words. So please allow me to read words of a letter that I wrote in 2021 to the members of a selection committee for a very prestigious award. Here's the letter. Pillars of a scientific and professional community are like the columns on which temples are built on and rest upon. No long descriptions is needed on neither the form nor the substance of such columns. To admire them, one simply need to pause and look at their elegance, as well as to consider with awe how they have served their crucial functions for centuries. Yet these columns deserve to be recognized for the role they have played, not only as a symbol of a culture, but also as major contributors to the life, prosperity, and local actualizations of communities, local communities, national and international communities. The goal of this letter is not to provide long descriptions of one of the pillars of the psychotherapy community, but simply an invitation for you, as member of the selection committee, to take a pause and admire how Dr. Hector Fernandez Alvarez has built, nurtured, and fostered the actualizations of psychotherapy in Argentina, Latin America, North America, and Europe. I invite you to take a pause and think about the boldness and the courage it took for one single individual to create in the 1980s a clinic designed to serve the personal, interpersonal, and social needs of many communities, including poor communities, and to do so against the repressive and punishing power of the dictatorial regime. I also invite you to take a pause and reflect on the fact that this clinic has become the shining example for the whole world of an infrastructure cohesively integrating training, research, clinical work, the Egley Foundations. Take a moment and contemplate the fact that this infrastructure has provided clinical service and trained clinicians for more than 40 years. That just clinical and training functions, first based in Buenos Aires, have reached clients, therapists, and supervisors across Argentina and many countries in Latin America and Europe. And that just clinical and training have served as the basic of a research program that involves the collaborations of clinicians, clinical agency, university, researchers, and reputed scholars around the world. Among the many research investigations that have been fostered by the Egley Foundations are several studies on the impact of therapy, the process of change, characteristics of therapists, as well as the interactions between therapists and clients' characteristics. Such empirical contributions in leadership, led Dr. Fernandez Alvarez to be the first researcher from Latin America to receive the Distinguished Career Award from the Society for Psychotherapy Research. And then, in the midst of appreciating what he has done through such clinical training and empirical contributions, take a moment to consider the cohorts of mentees that he has brought to our community. If you consider the fact that one person has fostered for more than 40 years the actualizations of scientists, therapists, and supervisors across continent, there is no doubt in my mind that you will recognize him as an illuminating symbol of psychotherapy. Dr. Fernandez Alvarez has been central to our communities for decades. He is nothing less than a pillar of our culture, and as such, his work must be fully recognized and properly celebrated. I cannot think of a better way to do so than for you to bestow upon him the distinguished awards of the International Advancement of Psychotherapy. Now, Hector received this very prestigious award from the American Psychological Associations. And while he would approve, I think, my reading of the previous words, I would be remiss if I did not mention in my tribute how I will always remember his laughter, his hugs, the uplifting sign of hope and welcoming emerging from his eyes, the intensity of his presence, but also his empathy for difficult issues we all face in life. I will always remember his optimism, his inspiring vision, his contagious joie de vivre, his thirst for knowledge, his ambitions to do good things, big things, but most importantly, good things. His passion for life, his love for what is sublime in the world, his love for what is sublime in the world. This is worth repeating. And I will always remember and cherish the fact that we ended most of our writing communications with the word amitié, amistad, one of the most sublime words in any language, and one of the most touching, reassuring, humbling, and fulfilling word when it is written for you, to you, by one of the most sublime persons one will ever know. For this, I will ever be grateful to Hector. Thank you.